Hi everybody, welcome to the UEA Nursing Podcast with one of our Meet the Lecturer episodes, and today we have Rachel Lewis with us. So welcome, Rachel.
Hiya.
Thanks for coming in. Let's start with, who are you and what's your role?
So my name is Rachel and I'm one of the adult nursing lecturers. I am module organiser for MPS 1, so have a lot to do with the first year nursing students, and I'm also pre-reg lead advisor for adult students.
Okay, so that's an addition to all of your normal lecture stuff, teaching, marking, all of that kind of stuff. You've got those two roles on top. What does a lead advisor do?
So for adult nursing students, everyone will be allocated an advisor who is like a lecturer who's their main point of contact for anything that they need through the whole course. Mm-hmm. And as lead advisor, I'm sort of a next step if they need additional support or if the advisor needs support, and I just help kind of organise them getting that support from their advisors.
Okay, cool. So you kind of got oversight of the advisors for all the adult students. Yeah. And you said you're a module organiser for NPS 1.
Yes.
So what is NPS 1 and what does being a module organiser involve?
Well, MPS 1 is the best module.
Oh, is it?
I am biased, yeah.
I've heard it was MPS 3, but we'll find out.
So it's Nursing Practice and Simulation 1. So these are the practical modules that students have that go through the nursing skills. So mostly face-to-face, in the sim lab, practicing practical skills that they'll use on placement.
Okay.
So they get MPS 1 in first year, MPS 2 in second year, and MPS 3 in third year. So module organising is exactly what it says. So I organise the sessions, I plan the rooms, I make sure the groups are right, that people turn up when they're meant to, they get the taught content they're meant to get, organise kind of resources to go on Blackboard and have general oversight, as well as getting to teach a lot of it, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, so you're there on the day-to-day teaching for a lot of the groups, but you obviously can't teach everything, so you have to make sure every session's covered and everything's taught as per the plan, so everyone gets the same teaching, same service.
Yep.
So all the first years, once they start, will get to know you really, really quickly because they'll all meet you online and then meet you face-to-face for certain sessions as well.
Yep.
Good. Okay, so that's who you are. But let's go back a little bit and look at your kind of background. How did you get here? So how, why, when did you get into nursing?
So I'm one of those cringy people that always wants to be a nurse, I'm afraid. My mum is a nurse and my dad is a doctor. So it was sort of inevitable, although they both tried to put me off nursing.
Okay, interesting.
Because they knew it would be a hard career, so they wanted me to know what I was getting into. So I, from the age of 14, had to volunteer at nursing homes and day centres. I ran a lot of bingo, lots of activities, just so they just wanted to be sure that I knew what I was getting into. And it's hard work. And being an adult nurse in particular, they wanted me to have a lot of exposure to older people. So I did a lot of residential homes, nursing homes, that kind of thing.
There you go. And how's the bingo calling prepared you for a career in nursing?
Do you know what? It's exactly the same. No, but that for a 14-year-old to have to talk to older people, that was, shocking. I didn't know how to talk to people, but I knew that's definitely what I wanted to do. I really enjoyed making those relationships and working in those settings.
Okay. So that was your plan. You always knew you wanted to be a nurse. They tried to put you off. They gave you the experience and you went, no, this is still for me. Yeah. So you went straight into it at, 18?
18, went to uni. I think at 18, I thought I knew what I was doing. I was very naive, but absolutely loved it. I was kind of your typical naive 18-year-old student at uni, but, it was the right course for me. So.
And did you, because you obviously had family links to it, did you know kind of what area of nursing you wanted to end up in? Or when you went in, were you kind of blind to all that and you just learned as you went?
No idea. And even when I qualified, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
That's interesting.
So I went through the whole training and they say you either like medical or surgical or community. I liked everything. I had placements that were more challenging, but generally I didn't know what area of nursing I wanted to do. So when I qualified, I got a rotational post in London because I wanted exposure to more. But it was a cardiology rotation and cardiac surgery because the heart was my favourite organ.
Okay, you picked your favourite organ.
Yeah, pretty much. But it did include some medical and some surgical and some higher dependency because I still didn't really know what I wanted to do at that point.
Yeah, I suppose that's the good thing about nursing is you don't have to pick straight away. You can move around, you can try something out, you can go somewhere else, you can come back to it. Yeah. So you did that, and then where did you start working after that? So you did your rotation when you qualified. And did you stay there for long, or? So
it was an 18-month rotation. So we did half of it was cardiology with a coronary care aspect, and then half was surgery, cardiac surgery with high dependency. And I loved it all. But what I really liked was that higher dependency, acutely unwell patients, faster paced, having 1 or 2 patients to look after that were sicker. So I went into intensive care straight after that.
Cool. Okay. And that's where you kind of stayed in your clinical career as intensive care?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it about intensive care nursing that draws you in? You said it's faster paced.
It's faster paced. I'm a perfectionist. I think you don't always have time to do everything perfectly, but with one patient, you have the time to do everything for that one person. So I struggled having 8 or 10 patients on a ward. I didn't know enough about them. I couldn't, give the care that I wanted to give because you just don't have capacity. Whereas with one patient, you can get to know everything about them, whether it's medical, physical, or whether it's they have a grandson called X. You know, you get to know the family really well. I really liked the team. You get, to know the team really well. You work with the same kind of physios, doctors, etc. And I did enjoy the kind of higher acuity, faster paced, always had something to do.
Mm-hmm.
Night shifts aren't necessarily slower.
Kind of the same as day shifts.
Yeah,
same
and
stuff
I quite
happens.
liked that.
Yeah.
So that's where I really enjoyed working.
And I guess all the patients there, because their acuity is so high, they need everything done perfectly at the right time, done so that sort of suits your way of working, that you could be very particular. Meticulous, is that how you describe it?
Opposite of an A&E nurse.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean. So okay. And you did that, and then you've ended up at the UEA. So how did you get to working here?
So after that, we moved to Cambridge, and I got a job at Papworth, straight within the education team. So I didn't work clinically there.
Okay.
So I still enjoyed being in an acute setting, but I knew I liked having students. So I liked the teaching aspect. I liked having new starters with me and students and kind of the teaching part of it. So I went into education, and I worked at Papworth for 6 years in the education team. So
a long time.
Yeah, and I loved that hospital. I still love that hospital. And just sort of being in charge of, so we oversaw, because it's a really small hospital, we oversaw everything from the pre-reg students to actual the staff nurses and medical team as well, kind of all the mandatory training and the CPD as well. So kind of all aspects of education within an acute trust.
So it's a sort of a logical progression, I guess, from nursing to nursing education clinically
to higher education.
Coming over to UEA.
Yeah.
And since coming over here, you've been here coming up to a couple of years now. What is it that's appealing? What do you like about working at the university?
I think it's knowing that you're having an impact. So if you have an impact in a student nurse's education, you know the impact that will have on patient care ultimately. So having that kind of almost like that power of being able to have influence on patient outcomes going forwards. It's a lovely team. Mm-hmm. It's, lovely working with student nurses. And I like having, it's more autonomy than I'd say in the NHS. So you get a real independence over your workload, over your module. You can make changes. You can work with people to instigate new, initiatives, and then evaluate them and, make changes based on that. So you can actually see the impact you're having as you're making those changes.
Yeah. Okay. And if you had to give a tip to a student, you had a new student starting and they said, what's your one tip that's going to make my life easier, better over the next few years? What would it be?
I would say look after yourself. So it's a hard course. I think it's harder than any other course universities offer, just with the mix of placement, the mix of academics. So prioritise yourself. Think about how you're going to look after yourself, whatever that might be, whether it's exercise, seeing friends, time alone, and make sure you prioritise looking after yourself, because that's what will get you through the course.
Fantastic. That's really good advice. Yeah. So don't just think about the placement. Don't just think about the academic work. Don't run yourself into the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you for coming in and answering some questions. Hopefully you've enjoyed the session and you've met Rachel. Keep an eye out for the other episodes, and you can meet other members of the nursing lecturing team. If you liked it, please send it, share it with other people, like it on the page, add any comments or questions below. And if you subscribe, then you'll get alerts when there are new videos released. Thank you for watching, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.